community, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Pemi and I am so glad you are doing life. Video is all about attachment styles. Why do you attach the way that you do, and how does your attachment style affect your relationship or relationships? If this is something that you are excited about, stay tuned, but also don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, switch on notifications so you don't miss out on any other videos. And with that, let's get started. There are 4 different attachment styles. Number 1, secure attachment. Number 2, anxious attachment. Number 3, avoidant attachment. And number 4, disorganized attachment. We are going to be unpacking all 4. Somebody who has, I don't know if that's the right, someone who has this attachment style. Do you have an attachment? Yes, someone who has this attachment style operates in this. I do not know what the right way to say this is. Someone with a secure attachment style is somebody whose parents were quite attuned to their needs and their wants, so they received love consistently and they didn't have a very inconsistent childhood in terms of people showing up for them. As a result, these people have learned how to trust in healthy environments, but also they don't take rejection or dismissal as hard as somebody with other attachment styles that we're going to get into. So people with a secure attachment style tend to struggle less in relationships because they don't overreact to things like rejection and dismissal and. However, if you do have a secure attachment style and you are struggling in relationships or you have a little bit of difficulty, it's probably because you are complacent. You choose comfortable over risky. You stay in relationships where you're not really happy for too long just because they're comfortable. The right thing to do would be, opening yourself up to the love that you really desire and the love that you want to go out for, even though it is more risky, even though it is scary. So it's important that you use all of the skills that you learned of how to deal with rejection and deal with dismissal or even the failure of a relationship, just to make sure that you don't stay in the same place just because it's comfortable. Allow yourself to feel the highs and lows, because that's how you really live. Instead of staying lukewarm, just rise up a bit and allow yourself to show up and be seen and be loved, no matter how scary that is for you. Number 2, anxious attachment. So this one is interesting because it actually deals with inconsistencies. So somebody who has this attachment style is someone who received love and care inconsistently. So one moment you're getting it and it's great, and your parents are seeing you, your guardians. The next minute you don't have, your needs are not being met, or you're being dismissed, or you're being ignored. So you lived in a very inconsistent space, and this triggered anxiety that has really just been living in the back of your mind and even in your subconscious for a very long time. The impact this has had, or this has, on your relationships is you don't trust people. It takes you quite a bit of time to trust people because you don't really know what's gonna happen next. And when you do trust somebody, you latch onto them, and you become quite clingy simply because of the fear of losing them, and you hate starting over. And this isn't just with romantic relationships, but friendships as well. People with an anxious attachment style also struggle with indecisiveness, because you tend to doubt yourself quite a bit. The inconsistencies in your past are to thank for that. You fear the unknown because you don't know what to expect from people, and this makes you very guarded. If you are an anxious attacher and you are struggling with this in relationships, it's probably because you spend most of your time assuming, mind reading, projecting, presuming, trying to stay 2 steps ahead so that you can predict what the next person's going to do and protect yourself beforehand. But as we know, life does not work that way. You cannot actually safeguard yourself from disappointment. There's absolutely nothing a person can do that will prevent them from being disappointed if an expectation of theirs is not met. The thing with an anxious attachment style is it keeps you in your head more than your heart. If you're battling with this, then you need to learn how to differentiate reality from your fears. And it's hard, but with the right people around you, people that you can really trust, people that show up for you, people that validate your feelings, and people that don't give you a reason to cling on to them for dear life, are great for reassuring you that you're in the right place and that they're not going to change overnight. Number 3, avoidant attachment. Now, this attachment style is one where a lot of people, when you hear people say they're emotionally unavailable, they're usually avoidant attachers. And people that attach this way are usually children of parents who were emotionally unavailable. They grew up in environments where they were dismissed, they were overlooked, they were not seen, and their needs were not catered to. Children who grew up in environments like this tended to grow up a lot quicker than they should. It's called adultification, when you're a child but you're forced to become an adult and tend to yourself and almost raise yourself because there aren't adults around you doing what they're supposed to do. So when you think of avoidant attachment, what should come to mind is somebody who doesn't share their feelings, who keeps their feelings bottled up because they're afraid of seeming like a burden. Somebody who struggles to ask for help or express true pain because they couldn't do this as a kid. Someone with this kind of attachment style is most comfortable alone, and they're very self-sufficient. And this is definitely a trauma response, because when they were young, if they felt anything other than happy, then those emotions were simply rejected, dismissed, disregarded, because they were seen as an inconvenience. So a child whose fear or pain or discomfort or any negative feelings, if those feelings are consistently disregarded or dismissed or rejected, then the message that sends is, if you want to receive love, then you cannot be sad, scared, angry, anything that seems like an inconvenience to somebody else. You learn that subconsciously. You start learning that love means being pleasant and doing things that make other people's lives easier and not burdening people with your emotions. So people that attach this way tend to really bottle things in. They struggle to express their emotions. They struggle to ask for help because they're so terrified of seeming like a burden and being rejected as a result. If you are struggling with this attachment style, then you probably think that if you were to show up as your whole self, you are unlovable and people will reject you. But that's not true. Just because some people could not love you does not mean you're not lovable. And just because some people could not deal with their own emotions and made you feel like your emotions are too big of a burden does not mean that's the truth. And it does not mean that you won't find people that have enough capacity to let you lessen your load. It's important to know that the way you accept other people's flaws, you deserve that same kind of grace. You deserve the same kind of kindness you extend. And you do not need to people please in order for you to be accepted and in order for you to be loved. What I would say for someone who's struggling with this is find your little tribe, community, people, and make sure that you are very careful about the relationships you form, because avoidant attachment style can lead to excessive people pleasing. And if you're a giver and you surround yourself with takers, you will be giving and giving and giving in the hopes of being loved and received. But that won't happen if you're surrounded by people that are actually just there for what you can give. So make sure that, one, you are surrounding yourself with people that love you for who you are because they've seen you for who you are. And lastly, disorganized attachment. Now this is a very sad way of attaching, because it was fostered by a very unsafe childhood. If you grew up in an abusive home, in a life-threatening environment where the people abusing you were also the people responsible for keeping you alive, it becomes hard. And in order to survive environments like that, we disassociate with ourselves. We stop listening to our emotions. We stop listening to our thoughts. And as a result, you grow up into an adult that has no ability to navigate their emotions. You second guess everything you think. You need other people to validate whether or not something is indeed, true, because you grew up gaslighting yourself. You grew up telling yourself, oh no, it's not as bad as it is, when it really was. And this was obviously just for you to survive, but it has wreaked havoc on your emotional navigation and your self-trust. This attachment style is particularly tricky for relationship forming because you've spent so much time going against your instincts and what you really feel and what you really think. So in relationships, you tend to not go for people you actually truly want to be with, because you don't trust your feelings so much that if you feel a strong connection with someone, you're gonna sabotage that relationship. It feels too threatening. It feels like you're unsafe. This attachment style actually requires the most emotional work, and I would definitely suggest that if you are a disorganized attacher, if this is your attachment style, you seek therapy or coaching, because it's tough. You have to work through all that trauma so that you know what triggers what, and that you are able to really face yourself and learn how to trust and love and forgive yourself, because it's hard rejecting yourself for that long and then expecting yourself to even recognize your voice and know what's the right thing for you. So if this is your attachment style, I really hope you're getting help, because it is hard, but it's not impossible, and so many people have definitely worked through it, and I know you can too. To improve your relationships, you really just need to reassociate with your heart and your instincts, and get out of your fight or flight mode because you've had to stay in it to survive. That's also how you navigate relationships, but actually it's keeping you from truly being vulnerable and showing up the way you should in relationships. So those are the 4 attachment styles. Just to recap, it is secure attachment, anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, and disorganized attachment. Key takeaways from all 4. Secure attachment is the healthiest of all 4 attachment styles. You tend to struggle less in relationships, but if you are struggling, it's because you are complacent and you're choosing comfort over what you really want and desire. Anxious attachment, you are staying in your head more than you're in your heart. Get out of your head. Learn to trust people and stop fearing the unknown. No one knows what's gonna happen tomorrow, so you're part of the gang. No one has this big secret that they're keeping from you, and most of all, no one is plotting to just leave your life, and even if they do, you'll be okay. Number 3, avoidant attachment. You may have not been loved the way you should have as a child, but there is so much love waiting for you. There is so much acceptance. There is so much grace, and you deserve it. You deserve to know yourself fully and to show up as yourself completely, because that is how you will know you're truly deserving of the love you receive. And lastly, number 4, disorganized attachment. I am so sorry that you had to fight to stay alive, but you made it. And now is your turn to really come home to yourself. I wish you all the best in your journey, and remember, you are as precious as the rest of us. Okay, community, that is it from me. I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned a thing or two. What is your attachment style? Tell me in the comments below. Like this video. Don't forget to subscribe and switch on your notifications. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Bye.